Okay, so, hi. I'm going to be reading The Art of War by EveryShadeOfHappy on AO3. But before I start, I just want to give a bit of info on the story, basically. So, to start, it's 12 chapters long, so obviously I won't be reading all of it at once. And I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish uploading all of the chapters, but we'll get there eventually. Also, this story includes Class 1B characters, as well as an original character created by the author, and obviously, the show doesn't exactly focus on Class 1B characters, so I don't really know how to voice them, and I'm probably going to mispronounce their names. I'll try to do my best, but I don't speak Japanese, so there's that. I'm also not a voice actor, so I'm going to try to do some of the voices, but probably not very many. There's also a poly relationship that develops between 3 male characters in this story, over the course of the story, so if you're not okay with that, then, leave, I guess. I don't care. I think that's about it, though. So, let's just get started, I guess. The Art of War by EveryShadeOfHappy. Summary. Class Wars. One team is villains, the other are heroes. The only predetermined placement is the leaders of the teams. Who will win? Chapter 1. I cannot speak. Chapter 1. All is not as it seems. In one universe, Izuku Midoriya meets All Might and becomes his successor. That is not this universe. In this universe, Izuku gives up on being a hero early on. He never meets All Might and stays quirkless. He doesn't have a vision for his future, and so he chooses to go to the best school in the country, UA. Not as a hero, no, simply as a Gen Ed student. And he does get in, which causes him to be in this mess at the moment, so perhaps he should have chosen a school that didn't have a genius as the principal. Izuku sits in front of Principal Nezu, a cup of tea getting cold in front of him. He still wasn't quite sure why he was here, as he hadn't done anything wrong, besides running a quirk analysis ring behind the teacher's back, but he hadn't meant to do that, and there was no way the principal had found out. The principal does, in fact, know about this ring, and would love to get his paws on those notebooks, but that's not why he brought Izuku here. Principal Nezu, are you ever going to tell me why I'm here, or are you going to drink that entire pot of tea first? Well, this is quite delicious. You should try yours. No, thank you. It's chamomile, which makes you sleepy, and more suggestible. Yeah, that's right, to suggestions. I'd prefer to be awake for my classes. Ah, very astute of you. Not many look into the properties of tea anymore. Izuku stays silent. It's obvious that Principal Nezu is just trying to deflect. Nezu's eyes gleam. This child is quite interesting. Well, I suppose we can start. It's about your grades. My grades? I have good grades. I don't understand the problem. Izuku drawls. He's missing math for this, and he'd rather be at math if he's being honest. You are correct. Your grades are quite good, but you see, they aren't good enough. So you called me here to tell me to do better? Nezu's grin sharpens. No, I came to ask why you are purposely sabotaging yourself. Izuku's eyes widen minusculely, but Nezu still catches it, so he's correct. I don't know what you mean. Izuku attempts to lie. Is that so? Well, how is it that you have missed exactly enough questions to keep your grade average at an 84%? In fact, it has not slipped once all year. I would have never noticed. I don't make it a habit of checking all of the students in my school's grades, you know. But ectoplasm, your dear math teacher did notice how you would explain a concept to a student perfectly, only to miss it on a test, even though he got the other questions correct. And it has repeated itself all year. Izuku mentally curses Ectoplasm Sensei and pastes on a smile. Well, mistakes happen. I suppose I don't check my work enough. I'm only human after all. He laughs nervously. He hadn't been expecting this to come up today or ever. It's something he'd done since he was a child. If he got perfect work, he was accused of cheating and given a 0 every time. It was easier to pretend to be dumb and be safe. Nobody had ever cared enough to call him out on the behavior, so he never thought to become more sneaky about how he fucked his own scores up. He thought even if someone had noticed, no one would care. Well, that is true, but you have a pattern that can be tracked throughout all of your assignments. In fact, I went to the trouble of looking through all of your previous work and marked the pattern down myself. I also went ahead and gave you a perfect score on all of those assignments. It's clear you are purposely sabotaging yourself. If you hadn't purposely given the wrong answer, you wouldn't have missed a question all year. Izuku is really cursing his high school choice now. I'm sorry, Principal Nezu. I didn't want to be accused of cheating. I'll do better next time. Izuku gives a stiff bow and attempts to leave, assuming the conversation is over. I'm glad you'll stop giving yourself handicaps, but I'm not sure why you think you'll be accused of cheating. We can get into that later, I suppose, but I've heard great things about those notebooks of yours, and I'm quite interested in looking through them, so if you wouldn't mind staying for a little longer. Nezu phrases it as a question, but it's obviously not. So Izuku sits down and hands over his current notebook, number 54. After giving up on heroics, he'd had a lot more time to put into analyzing quirks. Nezu can feel his tail start to wag as he looks through the notebook. In front of him sits Midoriya, Izuku's true genius. He hasn't seen analysis this well thought out and clever in a very long time. More than that, most analysts have plenty of footage to watch to analyze, but if the entry on Eraserhead shows anything, he doesn't need a video to be able to analyze someone. Nezu knows for a fact that Eraserhead had little to none video footage of him, or his quirk on the internet. But Midoriya has not only dissected it to a T, he has a psychological profile on him and facts not known to people other than his close friends, like the fact that he's married to Present Mike. Nezu looks up and begins to analyze Midoriya closer. It's clear he does some sort of workout routine if the defined muscles on his arms have anything to say. His posture indicates that he has taken at least one form of martial arts. Even the way he watches his surroundings show he has excellent spatial awareness. Midoriya should have made it extremely far in the sports festival if Nezu's predictions were correct, and they were. But Nezu couldn't even remember seeing Midoriya in the sports festival at all, almost like he hadn't tried at all. Izuku watches apprehensive as Nezu seems to go into a frenzy, flipping through pages at an insane speed. Was he even reading them at this point? Eventually, he snaps the notebook shut and begins to stare at Izuku again. Izuku sighs. Is the staring never going to stop? He really just wants to go back to class. Can I go? Midoriya, I would like to offer you a place in the hero course and the opportunity to mentor under me for the next 2 years at UA. Izuku goes bug-eyed and nearly chokes on his own spit. What? I would like to offer you it. No, I heard you, but why? Nezu was quick to share his observations. Midoriya, you are smarter than you like to let on. In fact, I wouldn't hesitate to state that you are a certifiable genius, but you sabotage yourself for no reason. More than that, it's clear that you have martial arts experience. If the bruises on your knuckles and your posture have anything to say, I would even go so far as to say you have gymnastic prowess as well. You are the perfect hero candidate, and I have no doubt that had you tried in the sports festival, you would have won. So I'm offering you the chance to join the hero course as long as you actually start trying. Nezu adds the little joke at the end in the hopes it'd make Midoriya comfortable. It does not work. No. Nezu blinks. He hadn't expected him to say no. No? Izuku scoffs and crosses his hands. Yeah, no. May I ask why? This is an extremely good opportunity. Perhaps you should just join a class once or twice. See how you like it. I don't want to be a hero. I haven't for a long time. Not since I was 10. Why would I become a hero now? I'm happy right where I am. Are you? Nezu questions. Yes, I am. Now I'm missing valuable class time, and if you want me to stop fudging my scores, then I should get to class. Have a good day, Principal Nezu. Izuku once again bows shortly and grabs his notebook. Nezu's hand lands on his. Izuku glances at him. This isn't over, Midori-san. We need more heroes like you, and I am determined to convince you to join our class. Izuku snorts. Yeah, okay, good luck with that. I'm pretty stubborn, I'm afraid. With that, he takes his leave, and Nezu smiles at the empty room. So am I. Then he turns to the computer. He has the beginnings of how he would get Midoriya to change his mind. Class 1A is chattering excitedly to each other, and Aizawa can't help but sigh. He really does have such a problem class this year. Brats, he drawls from the door. The students snap to attention. At least their reaction times were getting better. He shovels in with a stack of books. Ida, pass these out. Ida jumps up. Of course, Aizawa-sensei. Thank you for trusting me with such a task. Aizawa sometimes wants to beat the formalness out of this child. How is he so goddamn different from Tensei? He shakes his head. It doesn't matter. Hopefully by third year he'll have chilled out some. But he doesn't hold much hope for it currently. When Ida has passed out all of the books, he begins to speak. Now, as you know, finals are coming up. To be clear, this determines whether or not you progress to second year, so I suggest you take it seriously. He sends a glare to the more excitable bunch in his class who turn pale. Finals are going to test everything you have learned this year, and to do that, we do a villain versus heroes assignment. Mina's hand shoots up. Oh, like the first assignment? Ooh. I don't like that sound. Let's try that again. Oh, like the first assignment we did with All Might Sensei, right? She squeals and Aizawa nods. Yes, but on a much grander scale. You will have a month to prepare, and then you will spend 3 days in a cityscape. There will be 2 teams, the heroes and the villains. The only people who will be predetermined are the leaders of the villain teams. You will find those out in a few days once preparations start. After that, you can choose the side you wish to be on. Everyone will be scored individually on how well they do at what they choose to do. So, if you choose to be a villain but save a civilian, points will be docked. Or if you, as a hero, you kill a villain, points will be docked for that person, and so forth. You'll find more about that in the books I just gave you. The class nods, faces serious. Good, they are paying attention, he continues. You will each be given objectives to complete as a team, and that will be used to determine how your team wins. If your team wins, you will receive some special benefits, and the losers will receive double training in summer school. Consider that an incentive, and let me reiterate. This is to test everything you've learned this year. It will be hard. Make sure you read the rules and come to me with any questions you might have. With that, Aizawa gets in his sleeping bag and promptly falls asleep. Immediately, the class begins to chatter. Oh wow, Kara. I wonder who are going to be the leaders. Yeah, I wonder what the prize is. Me too. You shitty extras. Obviously, I'll be the leader of the hero team. And fucking Mask over there will be the villain, since he looks like one anyway. Or the bird freak. Shoji immediately scowls, though you can't tell with the mask. All is not well in your soul. Darkness preys on it. Tokiyami whispers. Bakugo scowls. Fucking extras. Well, this sounds really fun, but also really hard, moans Mina. Denki shrugs and bumps shoulders with her. Aw, it's okay. You can sit back and let us handle it. Then you'll pass no matter what. Mina scowls. That is not what she meant. I do wonder who would want to be part of the villain team, though. I mean, we are training to be heroes, points out Audra. It's met with murmurs of agreement, except a select few who are thinking they wouldn't mind being part of the villain team. Well, I suppose if your friend is the leader, they might want to be a villain. Yeah, but you can't just choose because of your friends, points out Hagakure. Again, nods go around. Nezu stares at the list in front of him. Originally, he had Bakugo as the leader of the villains, but now he would be the leader of the heroes and Midoriya would be the leader of the villains. The reasoning was quite simple. Nezu wanted Midoriya to go all out on a hands-on assignment, and as a hero, he wouldn't be taken seriously as someone not in the hero course, and he would just let the hero students do all the work. But to lead the villains? Yes, it was brilliant. Nezu would give Midoriya an ultimatum and force him to do his best, and he had a sneaking suspicion that Midoriya would be more likely to accept his offer of the hero course after this. Yes, Midoriya was going to be the crux, and Bakugo would be the prime, and if Nezu's predictions were correct, this might be the first time that the villains ever win the assignment. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 1. I'm gonna pause, drink some water, and then we're gonna jump right into chapter 2, because I'm trying to get through this. And also the first chapter was kind of short. Okay, I think I'm good now. Chapter 2. Midoriya is pissed. Summary. Midoriya knew that Principal Nezu had something up his sleeve, but never would he have expected this. The class is quiet for once. Aizawa had just announced the crux and prime for the class wars. It was obvious that everyone was confused. Aizawa had been at first as well, when he'd seen it, but that had quickly changed. He had even tried to change it, but he had no choice in the matter. Now, he didn't particularly want to anyway. Aizawa-sensei? We don't know a Midoriya Zuko. He's not in the hero course, is he? Aizawa scans his kids' faces, stopping briefly on Denki, who had been the one to speak. Most looked confused. That he expected. What he didn't expect was the couple of kids who looked like they had just seen a ghost, specifically Shoji, Uraraka, Denki, and surprisingly Bakugo. I know you don't know him, or at least most of you don't know him, but he's a prospect to be added to the hero course. This will be his test. That starts a round of chaos that makes Aizawa regret his decision to ever become a teacher. Shut up, he yells, quirk flaring. The class falls silent again until Mina finally pipes up. Isn't that kind of unfair, though? I mean, this is supposed to test everything we've learned so far, right? He hasn't learned anything yet. He'll be crushed. Aizawa snorts after seeing that kid's analysis. If he could actually execute any of his plans, these kids would go down hard. That's true, but it's not supposed to be fair. Anyways, you have 3 days to decide if you want to be on the hero or villain team. Do you have any other questions? He asks. Immediately, all of their hands shoot up. Aizawa sighs. This is going to take for fucking ever. Aoyama. Oui, monsieur. I was just wondering if the other class will be participating. Why did I do a British accent? What the crap? We're just gonna pretend like that was French and move on. Yes, they have 3 days to make their choice as well. Mina groans and Aizawa glares at her. Sato. But that means we have to deal with Monoma. He protests. Aizawa is surprised. Even Sato doesn't like the one B-boy. Interesting. You have to deal with people you don't like all the time. Get used to it. Sero. Is it really a 3-day test? Like, no leaving the battlegrounds? If you leave the grounds, you fail. Treat this like a real mission. Sue. Do we actually have to listen to Bakugo? Hey, I'm fucking awesome. You dumbass frog. Aizawa sighs. I said treat this like a real mission. If you were out there with Silky, would you disobey? Sue shakes her head no. Tokoyami. But what if he's wrong? Or I'm sure you've noticed his tendency to want to do everything himself. You'll have to make that decision if it happens. I already told you this will be a challenge. Step up to it. Azal quickly answers the rest of the questions before the bell rings. A reminder, once the 3 days are up, I am no longer part of this. You'll have to figure these things out or ask the principal directly. With that, he shuffles out. Now that Aizawa is gone, they start to speak all at once. Ida tries to calm them down, but when he realizes it's futile, he slumps down into a seat with a groan. Who would actually be a villain, though, especially since the Crux isn't even a hero student yet? You can't just put your grades in a stranger's hand, cries Mina. Some people begin to agree immediately, but others stay quiet. Eventually, a rainbow-colored girl stands up. She blows a bubble, then pops the gum with a loud smack. The foreign exchange student from America smiles and says loudly, "Okay, by the way, this is the original character that I mentioned before." Okay, we're going to move on now. Well, I sure as hell am not going to be a lackey for Blasty over there, so I'm going to be a villain. Adora laughs loudly as Bakugo tries to explode her face off. Keyword, tries. It's easy to dodge. The enraged blonde. Everyone begins to laugh. Bakugo would suck to work under. Why couldn't Adora or even Todoroki be the prime? Bakugo slumps into a seat angrily. Fucking extras. He'd show them. It didn't matter that he was going up against fucking Deku. He was a quirkless loser after all, even if he did have those creepy-ass stalker notebooks. Yeah. He takes a shaky breath. He'd totally be fine. Eventually, they all split up into their normal friend groups, talking excitedly. Adora and Aoyama stand in a corner, chattering excitedly. Araraka is quietly approached by Ida and Sue. It's going to suck being Bakugo's lackey for the next month, Karo. I agree. He is not ready for a leader position, but I will do my duty to this class. Araraka looks away guiltily. Yeah. Are you okay, Karo? Sue asks. Araraka is acting weird. Araraka smiles softly. Yeah, but I'm going on the villain team. Why would you do that, Araraka? You'll throw away your grades under someone who hasn't even been in the hero course. Araraka laughs nervously and shrugs. Yeah, maybe, but I want to beat Bakugo, so I need to be on the villain team. This wasn't the real reason. I mean, sure, she does want to beat him, but the reality of it was that there was no way she would go against Midoriya Izuku. The first time she met him, she left scared for her life. It had been a week before the sports festival, and Ochako had desperately wanted to level up. So when she heard about a quirk analyst who would work with you if he found your quirk interesting, she had to take the chance. So she had sought the room she was told to go to, a small cramped closet in the second year's hall. She'd opened up the room to find an emerald green boy in there. He seemed so tired, and his eyes held more knowledge than seemed to be acceptable. It reminded her of that time she met Nezu briefly in the hall the other day. It was terrifying, and he hadn't even talked yet. And when he did talk, it simply cemented it in her brain. He was the most terrifying thing in this world. He had torn her quirk to pieces, then put it together in an entirely new light. He had told her that her quirk wasn't simply zero gravity, but gravity manipulation. She could make things heavier, too. It had shattered her whole worldview. And then he'd had her fight him. And he had beaten her every single time without the use of a quirk. So no, she wasn't going up against the boy who made her look like an amateur. Even Bakugo had trouble with her quirk in the sports festival. Momo approaches Shoji with a smile. Hi, Shoji. Momo, what can I do for you? Shoji nods at the girl who has rarely talked to him before. Oh, well, I was wondering why you looked so scared earlier. Do you know anything about Midoriya? Yes. Oh, so you'll be a villain then? Yes. She smiles. Well, I was thinking of being a villain. I need to prove myself, and I'll never do that if I let Bakugo take the lead. Like I know he will. Can you introduce me to him? Shoji sighs. I don't know him. But you just said I know of him, and I won't go against him. Why? Shoji glances around and brings a mouth to her ear. Because every day, when I wait for my brother to get out of general studies, I see Midoriya enter a closet where students will go and talk to him. And every time they leave, they look like they've seen God. I'm not going against a god. You do know he's not actually. Might as well be. Momo nods slowly. Well, thank you for telling me. With that, she takes her leave. Denki doesn't know how to tell everyone that he was going to be a villain for this activity. He knew that Bakugo would be mad, and so would the rest of the Baku squad, who had declared themselves as heroes already. It's not that Denki didn't want to be a hero, it's just that he was tired of being the laughingstock of the class. All they did was make fun of him, even after he got so much better with his quirk because of Midoriya. And that was a problem that Denki sure as hell wasn't going up against. He couldn't help but feel that the heroes were greatly disadvantaged going up against Izuku. Not to mention, they were underestimating him. Yeah, Denki had only met the Emerald-Eyed God by accident. He'd been late to lunch when he came across the prettiest boy he'd ever seen half asleep. Like any good hero student, he'd asked if the kid was okay, only for the boy to curl up on his lap and go on a 4-minute ramble about his quirk and its different uses, like making himself untouchable with his electricity. Denki had never thought to control his electricity, always focused on making the output bigger, but Midoriya had brought him around quickly to the idea of control, and to the idea of short-range attacks. Big attacks were good to have, but if the villain couldn't even get close without being shocked, it'd make him untouchable. Denki had basically fallen for the boy that day, but unfortunately never came across him again. Now was his chance to woo the boy, but as Denki turns his eyes to his squad, he knows it's going to be a mess when he announces his intentions. Yeah, he'd have to plan carefully so that Bakugo didn't kill him, or Mina. Earlier in the day, halfway across the school, Midoriya has just been handed the slip of paper excusing him from classes for a month and 6 days, and also detailing him as the crux for some shitty hero game. He stands up, an angry scream breaking out of his throat. Once again, it's Ectoplasm's class that Midoriya is about to miss. He snatches all of his stuff into his backpack and storms out of the room, ignoring his sensei's pleas. It's his fault he's in this mess anyways. It takes approximately 3 minutes and 42 seconds for him to make it to Nezu's office. And although Zuko would have loved to slam the door open, the rat doesn't even give him that option, opening the door remotely, just a half second before his hand touches the doorknob. Izuku, I've been expecting you. Nezu nods serenely toward the cup of tea waiting for him on the table. Izuku almost screams again. He was starting to fucking hate chamomile tea. I bet you have, you fucking rat. He throws his stuff onto the flowery couch and slams the papers clenched in his hands on Nezu's desk. I must ask that you don't disrespect me like that. I have a perfectly fine name. Well, I'm not fucking calling you it, rat. Now, do you care to explain why I am suddenly the leader in a villain exercise for the hero course? What couldn't convince me to be a hero? What couldn't convince me to be a hero, so make me a fake villain? He sneers. Nezu laughs and takes another infuriating sip of tea. No, nothing like that. Well, the only other option is that you fucking went against my wishes, illegally I might add, and put me in hero lessons. Only one lesson. Yeah, a fucking huge one. I'm not doing it, Principal Nezu. Nezu motions to the couch. Watch your language, if you will. Please, sit so we can have a civil conversation. Zuko does as he's asked with a huff. I'm not doing it. I disagree. And how do you plan on making me do it? Izuku smirks triumphantly. Even if he's forced into the arena, he'll just do his fucking worst. Nezu shares his own smile. Now, I'm sure you're aware of the illegal quirk analysis ring you've been running. And so am I. I could have you arrested. More than that, I was checking my security system, and to my surprise, you'd hacked my cameras. Zuko freezes. Fuck. You have no proof, he croaks. I do, but say I don't. Did you know the police force has a lovely lie detecting quirk? I'm sure he could solve this quite easily. Izuku whimpers at that admission. He's so going to jail, or at the very least he's going to be expelled, and there's not many schools that take quirkless individuals. He'd have to go back to Aldera, and that's the last thing he wants to do. You're blackmailing me, Izuku whispers, fingers clenching against his legs. Nezu nods and sips. I don't enjoy that word, but yes. If you don't do the exercise, then you will be expelled and prosecuted. And we all know that being quirkless limits your options greatly already. But to add on police charges, you'll never make it past high school. Izuku tries to hold back tears, but Nezu still notices. His eyes soften, but he doesn't retract any of his previous statements. You're just as bad as my other schools, you know that? Izuku whispers, swiping at his eyes. Why did he think things would be different? I'm sorry you feel like that, Midoriya, but it's not all bad. Let me tell you my proposition. Then you can decide. Izuku takes a few minutes to calm down, then nods. Fine. Nezu smiles. All I ask is that you go into this exercise and do the best you can. Give it your all. Go plus ultra for once. And after it's done, are you going to force me into a hero course? Nezu shakes his head. No. Do this to the best of your ability, and at the end, you can decide if you want to switch to a hero course. And I will let all those pesky offenses go and wipe the evidence. All you have to do is try. Izuku sucks a breath in. If he just gives it his all, he can go back to his normal life. It's almost too perfect. Why do you make me a villain if you're trying to make me be a hero? He asks. Nezu actually laughs. I just think you'll have more in common with the people who decide to become villains for this activity. He thinks for a while. He really has no choice. So finally he nods. Fine, it's not like I have much of a choice anyways, but blackmailing me isn't going to make me a hero, Nezu. I know. Now, do you have any questions about the activity? Izuku glances up, eyes determined. He promised to do his best, so his best they would get. I actually do. I expected nothing less. Go ahead then. A few hours later, Izuku leaves the principal's office with his head swimming with ideas. He has a lot to do, but first he needs to gather allies, and he has the perfect people in mind. So that's the end of the third chapter. End of the second chapter. I'm about to start reading the third chapter because I can. So, yeah. Chapter 3, Gathering Allies. Summary. Izuku gathers allies. The big three are seated at a table in the library, talking about their final exams, when a green bush walks up to them. Well, not actually a bush, but he might as well be. With emerald eyes and hair, it was kind of uncanny, actually. He walks right up to their table and smacks a hand down. Hey! Nedre squeaks and a burst of energy burst from her fingers. Good gosh, that's a tongue twister. Okay, anyways. Hey, it's not nice to scare people. Why do you look so mad? Did you fail a test? Mirio laughs. I think he wants to talk to us. Izuku nods. I don't know what that word means. Anyways. Oh, well, why do you want to talk to us? I don't think I've ever seen you before. Are you in the business class? Nedre, stop asking so many questions. Tamaki moans, looking down at the table. Oh, right, sorry. Izuku sighs and pulls out a piece of paper. I'm the crux this year for the first year end of exams. Oh, wow, I remember those. I got a concussion and had to go to Recovery Girl. Why do you need our help, though? Because I'm in general studies. After checking the rules, anyone who's not a first-year student can participate in the actual test. Can't participate in the actual test, but they can help prepare for it. More than that, neither team can step foot into the test ground. I need to install an entire spy network across Test Ground Gamma, and I can't do it without you. But I was hoping you would do it for extra credit and some other stuff in there. Whoa, you're in general studies? Is this your test to get into the hero course? That's super cool. But it's so unfair that they're making you the crux. They never win. As soon as Nejire says that, Izuku feels a shiver go down his back. That's what Izuku meant. He didn't want Izuku to just do his best. He wanted Izuku to win. Asshole. How do you know that we would get extra credit? Questions Miria. I asked Nezu. No way! I wish I had thought to check with Nezu. We'll totally help you. What kind of senpai would we be if we didn't? Thank you. I'll text you the instructions sometime in the next few hours and get the supplies you need. Supplies to you. Izuku bows and thanks them before walking away. Now that he has a way into the grounds, his options have opened up greatly. Next was the support classes. He wanders the halls until he comes across a giant F painted onto a broken door. It looks like it's gone through more than enough explosions to last it a lifetime. Poor door. More importantly, a maniac, pink-haired girl is standing over a broken machine. If she's willing to stay after hours, then more than likely she would be willing to do what he wanted. Hello? He calls out. The pink maniac whips around, and when her eyes land on him, they light up with a manic gleam. Godkun! I've been wanting to talk to you forever, but you're very good at hiding. What, is that your quirk? She yanks him in, but Izuku is still stuck on the Godkun. What the heck did she mean by that? Godkun? He questions weakly as he's manhandled into a bench and wires stuck to him. Obviously, you're the guy who does all of the crazy analysis in a broom closet, right? And everyone who's ever crossed your path is terrified of you. Whoa, you're quirkless? That's so cool. I've always wanted a quirkless test subject. They're the perfect blank slate. Izuku flinches back. How the hell did she? The wires, of course. Then the rest of her words catch up. You don't care? Why should I, Godkun? You obviously don't need one. With how smart you are, it would make you way too OP. Izuku shakes his head clear. It didn't matter how she felt, even if this was new to him. It doesn't matter. That's not why I'm here. I was forced into being part of the hero finals, and I want you to join the villain team. I checked with Nezu, and other classes can participate. You'll even be excused from your exams and given extra credit. What's in it for me? May smirks. Of course she's going to say yes, but she wants something out of it as well. Izuku snorts and pulls his nose out. You're the most important piece in my plan, actually. You would get to go wild. Custom costumes and gadgets to your heart's desire. A spy network and explosions to your heart's content. May's eyes light up, but before she agrees, I want you as well. Izuku turns pink. Sorry, but I'm very gay. Not you, Godkun, your brain. I want to pick it for the rest of our lives. You're gonna make beautiful babies with me, Godkun. The blush only grows more intense. Fine, but don't say stuff like that. They shake hands, and May leaps up excitedly. Go figure out the rest of your recruits so I can get planning. She shoves him out of the room, but he stops in the doorway. I know supplies might be a problem, but if I can get one person to join my team, we'll be set. With that, he leaves, May screaming in joy, to walk to the hero classes. Now he just needs to see what his team will look like. Probably pitiful, but there are a few people who he wants to recruit if they'd say yes. He decides to go to 1A first. He doubts people are actually there since it's the end of school, but it's better to be safe than sorry. To his surprise, when he opens the door, it's quite a few people. He quickly catalogs them in his head. This was better than he had dared to hope. Denki Kaminari, quirk, electricity, working on short-range attacks, really pretty. Ochaka or Araka, quirk, gravity manipulation, a badass. Koda, I can't pronounce the other part of his name. I think it's Koji. We'll go with that. Quirk, any voice. He can talk to animals. Momo Yagorozu, quirk, creation, also a badass, and exactly who he needed. Shoji Mezzo, quirk, duplet arms, great muscles. Adora Rawell. So, quirk, color, fucking OP and so cool. Monoma Naito, quirk, copy, also a fucking badass and very cute. Hananuki, we're gonna go with that. Quirk, softening, so useful. Setsuna Tokage, I probably pronounced that wrong. Quark Lizard, also cool. Raiko, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that other part of their name. Quark Poltergeist, can lift shit, very useful. Koroyo, Shihai, Quark Black, he can travel through shadows, so fucking cool. And finally, Yui Kodai, Quark Size, she can shrink or enlarge something, so cool. There were far more people than he expected, and he could slowly see his options opening up. You're Midoriya, right? Momo asks. Yes, he nods and bows. Then he takes a deep breath. Look, I don't want to be the crux, and I'm sure some of you are very pissed that I am, so I'm going to be very open and clear here. Then you can decide if you want to join my team. Monoma scoffs and glares at the 1A students. Anyone is better than 1A, so you're good in my books. He smirks at Izuku, making him sputter. What was with these people? He shakes his head. Anyways, what I was going to say is that I'm quirkless, and I have no interest on being a hero or the crux. That said, I'm only here because Nezu is forcing me to, or he'll expel me. Normally, I would just half-ass it, but not only will people be relying on me, but I will be expelled for half-assing it. So, I'm going to give it my all. More than that, I want to show them I'm not to be fucking messed with. So, I'm going to tear this stupid test to shreds. He nods confidently. To his surprise, no one walks out. Instead, they shrug. Koroyo speaks first. I don't really care, you're better than Bakugo. Izuku agrees with that. Yeah, I want to crush him, cheers Adora, red sparks flying off of her. It doesn't matter that... Who's saying that? Okay. It doesn't matter that you're quirkless. You are so much stronger than they think. I think we can win, even if we are villains, Ochako says. That brings a wave of agreement to go through the students. Izuku whimpers. He expected maybe one other student to want to be on his team. This gave him infinite options. He takes a deep breath. You do realize that you'll have to act like villains. That means things that go against your moral code. Setsuna steps forward. Half of us are already seen as villains. I want to win for once, and we've all heard the rumors about you. I'm not going against you. Okay, Izuku is sure something is seriously wrong with these kids, but he could work with this. God, he could work with this. And he had one more player to add to the team, but that would have to wait for tomorrow. Okay, let's sit. They all pull up chairs to the table. He whips out a notebook. Now, we're going to go over a list of your limits. That way I can plan around them. Raise your hand if it's something you won't do. I'll mark you down and I won't ask you to do it. I'll also tell you my limits. Murder. Every hand goes up. Faking a murder. No hands. Theft. No hands. Breaking and entering. No hands. Severe scarring. All the hands go up. Physical harm to the opposite team. No hands. Throwing someone out of a window. Setsuna pipes up. Depends on who they are. I'd throw someone I knew could survive it, but not someone who I knew wouldn't. Everyone agrees with that, so Izuku marks down that it depends on circumstances. What about psychological warfare? No hands. Good. Izuku would need to use that. Spying? Monoma speaks up this time. I refuse to watch the restrooms. Again, it's unanimous. Yes, but no where they might infringe on someone's privacy. What about explosions or fire? No hands. Kidnapping? No hands. Izuku smiles. Okay, what about sacrificing a teammate? All the hands go up. Destruction of property? No hands. Izuku nods. That would cover most of his bases. He snaps the notebook shut. Okay, I'll start working on a plan tonight. Tomorrow, since we are all excused from classes, you will meet the rest of your teammates, and we will go over the game plan. Until then, everyone make a group chat so we can keep in touch. And you guys? Everyone looks up at him. He grins a wild, unhinged smile. We're going to destroy them. The whole group erupts into cheers. When it finally quiets down, he is quick to ask, do you have any questions? Several hands go up. He points at Momo. We have more teammates? He nods. Yes, at least 2 more and several honorary. You'll meet them all tomorrow. She nods and steps back. Adora steps forward. Are we using our hero costumes? Izuku shakes his head. No, we're not heroes. Something that people have kept saying today has piqued my interest. So, I think I've got an idea on what we'll do then. She nods and steps back. Setsuna is next. Do we need to keep it quiet that we joined the villain team? Izuku shakes his head again. No, because it's not kept quiet from the heroes. What does need to be kept quiet is our plans. So starting tomorrow, we will not be speaking of our plans outside of specific rooms in our group chat. She nods. One last person steps forward. Are we all going to have a part in this, or are we just going to be extras? Mumbles Denki. Izuku's eyes soften. Everyone is vital to our success. I can tell you that right now. And nobody is an extra, okay? You all have such powerful quirks, and you're going to be great heroes. Much better than Bakugo. Some wonder how Izuku knew they were talking about Bakugo. Most just smile at the reassurance. Well, you may not want to be a hero, Midoriya, but I think you will be an excellent leader. Izuku nods his thanks. I have to go, but make sure to put me in the chat, okay? With that, he takes his leave, and the rest of the villains begin to mingle. That's good. They're going to need to be nice to each other for this to succeed. He cracks his neck, already wanting a nap. This is going to be a long night. And that's the end of Chapter 3. Let me see how long this is so far, and then we'll decide if we want to make the next chapter already. Chapter 4? Yeah, 4 divides into 12 evenly. Let's go with it. Chapter 4. Time to plan. Summary. Izuku begins the process of planning. Izuku's eyes hurt like a bitch. He'd stayed up all night, working on a plan to not only win, but destroy this test. And now he was walking towards his classmate Shinso Hitoshi, several binders in hand. Shinso watches Midoriya apprehensively. Yes. He studies the boy in front of him. He looks like shit. Gee, thanks. Midoriya rolls his eyes at Shinso as Shinso turns pink, realizing he said that out loud. Oops. It doesn't matter. You don't look any better than I do. You want to get into the hero course, right? Shinso nods. It was obvious that he did, but he wouldn't be able to this year after getting knocked out in the second round. He was still bitter about that. Well, I can get you a spot. Shinso nearly chokes on his coffee. Did he really just say that? Yes, I did. Midoriya nods. How? Outwardly, Shinso looks like he couldn't give a shit. But on the inside, a spark of hope ignites. I'm the crux in the hero finals. I can have anyone I want from the first years on my team if they agree. They're trying to get me to switch, but I don't want to. If you join my team, you'll have 3 days of undivided attention from the heroes. If you do good enough, I bet they'll want you to switch. Shinso feels a curdle of jealousy and anger swirl in his belly. Why did they want Midoriya in the hero course when he didn't even have a fucking quirk? It wasn't fair, especially since he was just throwing away what Hitoshi himself wants more than anything in this world. But still he smiles. A small, quiet thing that speaks volumes. I'm not sure why you don't want to be a hero, but I want that more than anything, so I'll join. Midoriya nods. Good. I'm on my way to a meeting with the rest of our team. Are you coming? In answer, Hitoshi falls into step with Midoriya. They quickly make it to the sport labs, where everyone is gathered in groups. When Adora looks up and sees Midoriya, she has the audacity to gasp. You look like shit, Godkun, pipes up May, who doesn't look like a bag of peaches either. Why does everyone keep saying that? He scowls, dumping his binders on the counter. This starts a round of laughter among his teammates. It's okay, Midoriya. Even though you look dead, I'll still take you on a date. Izuku goes red while Monoma sparks victoriously. Duncan glares at the other blonde, not willing to be outdone. He also speaks. Well, I think eye bags are quite hot on you, Mito. The blondes glare at each other. Midoriya attempts to regain his composure. He flips open the first binder, a pink tinge still on his cheeks. So, I was thinking about what you were saying about me being a god or whatever. I want that to be us. He mumbles, showing some of his costume designs. We're villains, and what is the one thing villains love most? Letting go and going all out. When the heroes see us, I want them to think they are seeing the gods, who have come down from the heavens. I want to model us after the great gods. We'll have 3 teams, the frontal, infiltration, and the mixed teams. All 3 will have leaders. That will be my council. Everyone crowds around the binder, oohing and awing at the costume designs. I love that idea, Godkun, screeches May. She snatches the binder away from the other villains and begins to go through it. She quickly dissolves into mumbles. The frontal team are simply there to wreak havoc. They will be who the heroes see and might have to fight. The infiltration will use the distractions to complete the tasks set to us. And the mixed will be the people who can and will do both. Everyone nods, sparks of determination in their eyes. So, who is that? Asked Raiko, pointing at the purple-haired student. That's Shinso Hitoshi. He's the other one of our teammates, and the honorary one should be here soon. She nods, satisfied with that explanation. So, I'm going to take that binder back for May really quick, and then I'm going to talk to you all individually about the personal roles you'll have in the test. May is going to be working with the honorary members to set up our spy network. You prepared what I asked for, right, May? Izuku questions. She looks up. Yeah, I have explosions and blood-proof cameras and a drone so I can direct them and map out the arena at the same time. Izuku nods, satisfied. He searches the room. Momo, can I talk to you first? Momo nods. And they quickly go into the adjoining room and pull up chairs. Momo, you are very important to the success of our team. I'm going to have a council of sorts. You, May, Monoma, and Dinky will be on it. Is that acceptable? Momo blushes at that responsibility she's been given. Of course, Midoriya. What will be my role? Midoriya opens the binder he'd stolen when May wasn't looking. It shows a black-haired girl with a wreath of green in her curls. She wears a floor-length dress built for ease of movement. It's slightly revealing as to grant access to her quirk. The belt is looped around her waist, filled with various items. You are Gaia, the goddess of earth, and more importantly, creation. You will be our supplier. With you, we have unlimited access to supplies. I want you to work closely with May to not only create any of the weapons and supplies we need, but we also have different teams. I would like you to be the leader of the frontal attack team. Momo traces the drawing. The dress is a light green, shimmery color, and Momo falls in love. This is beautiful, but it's not very practical, is it? Izuku laughs and pulls out a set of blueprints. You wouldn't think so, but I actually have some blueprints for shielding technology that hovers close to your skin, and it's invisible. It would give us creative liberties while also keeping you safe from most attacks, including things like Denki, if his electricity grows out of control. This is amazing, Midoriya, and I think when the other team sees us coming, I don't think they'll know what to do. I will do my best to work together with May to create these masterpieces, and I think I can help in one other way. It would take too long to make a vehicle, but I have more than enough money to buy some armored vans. I think that would work well for our needs, don't you think? And we can make modifications to them as well, as we see fit. Izuku begins to sputter. Oh, that's not. Nonsense. I'll call a few dealerships right now. Who would you like me to send in? Thank you, and send in Adora, will you? Of course. Izuku flips to Adora's page. She is dressed in a flowing gown just like the other girls, but hers is made of a shimmery fabric that cradles her close. On her head is a crown of sunlight. When Adora sees it, she can't help but coo. She really does look like a goddess. Whoa, who am I? Iris, the goddess of rainbows. Makes sense. Am I on the frontal attack team? Izuku nods. Yes, with Momo. Your quirk is highly combative and versatile. We'll work on it as well the next few weeks, but you're a huge boon to the villains. I don't know. I can't believe you chose to be on the villain team, to be honest. Adora shrugs. At first I did it because I can't work on a Bakugo, but now I think we can totally kick ass. Midoriya laughs. Bakugo is definitely not everyone's cup of tea. Send in Denki, will you? Adora nods and skips out. Denki enters with a loud shout and falls onto Izuku's lap. Hey, hot stuff. Izuku goes pink and shoves Denki off. Hi, Denki. Embarrassed, Izuku shows off the design for Denki. Most of the girls and boys have similar designs. The girls are in long, flowy, off-the-shoulder dresses that are changed to match their goddesses. And the boys all exist in leather armor, the color of their god, and a metal-plated shoulder that sweeps off into a cloak. It looks super badass. There are a few exceptions, but mostly they stay the same concept with minor changes. Whoa, I'm going to look like a badass. This is so cool, Mito. Mito? Well, yeah, I can't call my future boyfriend the same thing as everyone else. Denki laughs as Izuku goes pink again. What is with this guy? Eventually, he regains composure. Okay, that was mean. You're Zeus, and you're co-leading the mixed team with Monoma. Denki pouts. What? But Monoma is my love rival, Denki moans, leaning against Izuku again. Izuku squeaks and pushes back. Too bad, you're co-leaders. Denki's eyes light up. Does that mean I'm in the council? With Izuku's reluctant nod, he can't help but whoop in happiness. Izuku eventually pushes out the blonde and calls for Araka. She skips in and takes a seat. I'm excited to see my design, she squeals, leaning in. She's one of the outliers. She is a mix between the boy and the girl designs. She wears the armor from the boys, but instead of regular pants, she is in a half skirt. The back flowing out, and the front leather leggings connecting to boots with a series of buckles. Her whole costume is reminiscent of the galaxy. Dark blue, purples, pinks, and black swirl in the fabric. She looks like a warrior princess from outer space, which she kind of is. She wears a simple circlet. A moon in the middle. And fingerless gloves reach her elbows. It's dramatic and elegant at the same time. Wow, Araka whispers, tracing the design. She almost wishes this was her real costume. That's for me? Izuku nods. Yep. You're Artemis, the goddess of the moon and the hunt. You're a part of the frontal assault team. You have the potential to be so fucking scary, and we are going to bring that out in your villain persona. Araka throws her arms around Izuku. Thank you, I won't let you down. Monoma is next. He's Dolos, the god of trickery. You're going to be a part of the mixed team. You are such a powerhouse, but you can also be sneaky. You're going to co-lead with Denki, okay? Monoma also pouts about that, but ultimately agrees. He's also going to help Mei and Momo with the preparations. It goes the same with the rest of the villains. He shows them their unique costumes and explains which team will be which. Setsuna is Thanos, the god of death and infiltration. Thanos? Gosh, that's not right. Thanatos. Sure. The god of death and infiltration. Kurio is Nyx, the god/goddess of night, and they are also on infiltration. Shoji is Kratos, the embodiment of strength, and on the mixed team. Koda is Melampus, not a god, but someone known for being able to talk to animals. Juzo is Pasithea, the embodiment of relaxation. Not exactly a god again, but it worked. He went on the mixed team. Melino, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, is the goddess of ghosts. And so she goes to Raiko, who is also on the mixed team. Yui Kodai is Dionysus. I don't quite know how to pronounce that, but we're going to go with it. The god of indulgence. Not perfect, but he felt it would fit well. And then Shinso is Hypnos, the god of sleep. Izuku thought it was fitting. Finally, after hours of questions and laying out their positions, he finally gets to May. May gets her own binder, filled with designs and requests. The big three have come and gone by now, so Izuku is handed a tablet connected to the cameras and a map of the arena. Izuku also calls in Momo and Monoma and Denki. May, you're Hephaestus, the god of fire, metalworking, blacksmithing, forging, and masonry. It felt fitting. You are the leader of infiltration. He pulls up her costume design. It's the boys' design, a little looser, but the real beauty is the pair of metal wings behind her. I have a couple designs. I think you can make it in a month, and I want you in wings by the time the third day comes around. May flips through the binder. I have a list of what needs to be made in the next month. My designs, swords, guns, metal armor, explosions, and a couple of surprises. May begins to vibrate with excitement. Momo is getting us cars, which will help us with our mobility. My plan is to simply spend the first 2 days distracting the heroes and getting the objectives together. The third day will be the finale, where everyone comes out in full force to completely cream the hero team. Not only will all of the hopefully consecutive losses help bring down the morale of the heroes, we will work on thinning their ranks. We have spies, we have offense, and we have people who can help fill in the blanks. The last day will be spent on the last major battle. We'll have gathered everything we need by then, some of the objectives, which are things like burning buildings down. The frontal team can do as well. What will we do for the month? Izuku smiles. Train, prepare. We'll do gun and sword training, driving training, friendship exercises. We have to be able to trust each other. We'll spar and put the finishing touches on the costumes. I will talk to Nezu or Aizawa when we need permission to do things. They quickly end the meeting. Izuku needs to get a bunch of permissions, so he'd be stopping by the teacher's lounge. With that done, everyone finally splits off. Izuku makes his way to the teacher's lounge and knocks. It's Ectoplasm who opens it. Izuku looks away, unwilling to look his traitorous sensei in the eye. Ectoplasm sighs. Midoriya, I need to talk to Snipe Sensei, Aizawa Sensei, Mike Sensei, Midnight Sensei, Power Loader, please. Izuku snaps. Ectoplasm sighs, but opens the door. Come in, they're all in here. Izuku does, and his eyes zero in on his first target, Mike Sensei. Mike Sensei! Hey, little listener, what can I do for you? Mike smiles at the sullen student. Will you teach a few of us how to drive? He asks, bowing. Mike nearly choked on his spit. I'm sorry, what? Aren't you a little young to be driving, kiddo? No. We can get temporary licenses, but we need an instructor to give us 20 hours of practice. I was hoping you would do that. Mike fumbles for words, but eventually he nods. Of course, kiddo. I can do it from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the next few weeks. How does that sound? Izuku nods his thanks and adds to the schedule. Next, he turns to the yellow caterpillar on the couch. Aizawa Sensei, we need a gym to practice in, and a teacher to supervise. Will you please join us? Aizawa blinks sleepily and waves a hand. Yeah, whatever, he mumbles before falling asleep. Izuku isn't sure he actually knows what he agreed to, but he's not complaining. Mike rubs Aizawa's back affectionately. He'll be able to do it after school hours, okay? He doesn't have any paperwork for class because of the month-long break. Izuku adds that to the itinerary. Midnight Sensei, will you do sword training? Midnight squeals. It's been a while since she got to train anyone with swords. Of course, darlings. How does 1 to 3 sound? Izuku nods. One last person. Power Loader Sensei, we need a lap. Do you have any we can borrow? Power Loader is quick to agree. With that done, Izuku finalizes the schedules and sends them out. The sword, gun, and car lessons are for the mixed and infiltration teams. Some of them are definitely using guns and katanas. Depending on who takes to different lessons, like a duck to water, the schedules will change. And for the frontal attack teams, the lessons are optional, but after school hours. They will do vigorous quirk training. Now he needs to call his uncle. Koda is going to need some animals. And Izuku's uncle would be able to get them. And after throwing Izuku in foster care, his uncle owes him a big favor. He starts to receive texts approving of the schedule, and some asking to join specific classes. Two stand out to him, though. Denki and Monoma had both messaged him asking what god he was. After all, everyone else had one, right? Izuku sends a quick text back, creating a group chat for the three of them. Ares, the god of war. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for now. I'm going to try to get the next few chapters out soon. Probably tomorrow. I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. But, yeah, that was chapters 1 through 4 of The Art of War by Every Shade of Happy on Archive of Our Own. You should totally go check it out. I did not write the story. All credit goes to the original author. All I did was read it. But that's all for now. So, bye.